Hi, it's Steffi back with Soul on Earth, Section 1, reading Chapter 13, Restoring Energetic Energy. Quote from Cindy Dale. Without energetic boundaries, we can't share who and what we are with the world, and we can't receive the bounty the world has to offer us either. In order to move through our inner and outer landscapes with our full complement of life, force, and power, we need to cultivate the kind of integrity that Reiki practitioner Pamir Kichiman defines as the quality of being whole or united and of being unharmed or sound. In fact, if we are not whole and united within ourselves, we are very unlikely to be unharmed or sound. Whole and united within ourselves. Soundness in this context can mean many things. Dictionary definitions include free from injury or disease, free from flaw, defect, or decay, free from error, fallacy, or misapprehension, and showing good judgment or sense. If we are disconnected or alienated from ourselves, or if we are connected to ourselves but do not appropriately distinguish between self and not self, we cannot enjoy these freedoms. If we do not have clear energetic boundaries, we become overly permeable to others. This leaves us either perpetually drained by others' suffering or enforcing artificially rigid boundaries to prevent ourselves from being drained, as I did with the hungry woman in India. Because we are energetic beings, literally made of energy, despite the illusions of solid mass, our energy fields can easily become tangled or blurred by the energies of other people. Energetic imprints from people we've known, parents, other relatives, ex-lovers, can be embedded within us. Even energies from people whom we don't personally know can make their way into our energetic fiber, particularly if we've been wounded in ways that leave us energetically vulnerable. Just as a physical cut or scrape leaves us vulnerable to infection, non-physical wounding leaves us open to energetic intrusion. One shamanic term for this phenomenon is energetic interference, since the presence of foreign energy does indeed interfere with our well-being. The restoration of our energetic integrity requires us to ensure that we are holding all of our energy and none of anyone else's. Whoa. Just as certain clothes are magnet for lint and pet hair, some people's energy fields tend to collect energetic, okay, never seen this word, energetic detritus. I'm going to spell that Detritus. Is it detritus? Detritus? Oh. If you are a sensitive, empathetic, porous person, you've probably picked up a lot of energy debris from those around you. And its most mundane energetic clearing would be likened to using a tape roller that peels off the pet hair, or leaving your garment or your energy field looking like itself again. Yet in other circumstances, the process of energetic clearing is far more involved, complicated, or emotionally challenging. If you've been violated or abused, the emotional and energetic currents of those who abused you may have become lodged within you, particularly if the abuse began when you were very young. It can take a lot of work to separate out your energy from that of others. After having carried the voices of your abusers inside you for so long, you may even have come to think of them as your own. It always takes longer to clear out things we think are us, because first we have to realize that they're not. I just have to interject here. I was abused in a particular way as a child. It seems very banal, just not really that big a deal. But it kept happening. The same thing kept happening in the same way, all the way up to a therapist's husband who thought he was being funny by asking me to show how much weight I'd lost by pulling my pants out. And he put his hand down my pants. And at that point, I shut myself off because I began to think that I must have a sign on my head that says, stick your hands down my pants. So anyway, this will be interesting to me. Thank you for letting me interject. And I apologize if that triggered anyone. Just know you're not alone and you are supported. This book has definitely shown us that. Okay. After relationships break up, we may hold on to the energies of our ex-spouses or ex-lovers. Often there are parts of us that don't want to let them go, or because we miss them, or because we want to punish them, or both at once. Parents may hold on to their children's energy in an effort to try to protect them, or because their children's life energy is much fresher and more vibrant than their own. Healers who do not carefully balance themselves may take on some of their clients' energies. Yet regardless of who or what they may have become tangled up inside us, we can, with work and consciousness, untangle it, clear it out, and restore our own energetic reality. It can be difficult in this clearing process to distinguish between the many diverse aspects of self, which, as previously discussed, may hold radically different perspectives and levels of consciousness and be urgently in need of healing, and energies that are truly not us and need to be released. Often it's helpful to work with an experienced human practitioner in this process, but you can also trust your guides to help you cleanse and heal whatever is truly yours, while also releasing what isn't. When I first began studying shamanism, the idea of a person being inhabited or possessed by other energies seemed pretty far out there to me. I felt both skeptical and fearful. Fortunately, my teacher was very matter-of-fact about the whole thing. She helped me understand this kind of interference as a common side effect of trauma. Analogous to an opportunistic infection, which takes advantage of a lowered immune system. In the years since then, I have led many clients through processes to release interfering energies. However, because I know that many people still harbor the kind of fear and disbelief I once had about this topic, I don't usually name what we've done. Occasionally, a client will spontaneously joke about it, saying something like, "Wow, that felt like an exorcism." Usually I just smile and say something like, "That's one way to look at it." I can totally see Ruth saying that. Sometimes, however, interfering with the energy makes itself known in a more obvious way. When this happens, my clients may be forced to adjust their view of reality. Here's a story about one such healing. I had been working with Khadijah for only a few weeks when she mentioned hesitantly that she had experienced suicidal ideation. Her phrasing caught my attention. I noticed that she hadn't said she felt suicidal, but used more distanced language. I asked her to explain what she meant. "Well," she admitted, "I frequently hear a voice in my head that says, 'just shoot yourself.' doesn't seem to have any connection with what's going on in my life. Doesn't matter whether I'm depressed or happy, the voice is still there. How often do you hear it? No, every day, sometimes a few hundred times a day. The fact that the voice just said, just shoot yourself, rather than I want to shoot myself or I want to die, was an important clue. It indicated to me that we were probably dealing with a foreign presence rather than a wounded part of Khadijah. In Khadijah's next session, I asked her to tune into the place in her body where she heard this voice and describe the physical sensations associated with it. She described what felt like a hard greenish spot on the left side of her head and I suggested we speak directly to that spot to find out why it kept telling Khadijah to shoot herself. It's very angry at me, Khadijah said. It hates me. It doesn't want me to be happy. Why not? I asked. Then it doesn't feel so alone, Khadijah realized. It's unhappy, so it wants me to be unhappy too. I spoke with a voice for a few more minutes, and suddenly Khadijah gasped, "Oh, it's Mr. Adams! He was the father of a kid I knew in grade school. He killed himself when I was 10. Through Khadijah, I helped Mr. Adams. Hold on. Pause, please. Sorry about that. So we just left off with Ruth was speaking to the voice, and Khadijah said, "It's Mr. Adams. He's the father of a kid I knew in grade school. He killed himself when I was 10. Through Khadijah, I helped Mr. Adams understand that his own suffering and frustration would end if he left Khadijah's body and moved into the light. Rather than trying to make Khadijah unhappy to keep him company, he could become happy instead. He was understandably surprised by this idea and initially quite suspicious. However, soon his dead mother, looking far more loving than she had ever appeared in life, came toward him from the light. It was touching to sense this destructive, unhappy spirit finally softening and allowing himself to receive love. I drummed to help the energy move, and Khadijah released Mr. Adams into the light. Then I advised Khadijah to ask her guides to fill her completely with her own life energy, beginning with her own essential spark of life force and radiating it outward until her own light filled every nook, cranny, and crevice in her being, including the spaces now left empty by Mr. Adams' departure. This kind of visualization is not only an important ending to the process of releasing interfering energies, it's also a powerful healing process in its own right and helps render someone immune to further energetic experience. After that session, Khadijah never again heard the voice that had told her, "Just shoot yourself," for so many years. Although she still had plenty of other healing to do, she could do it much more easily once her energy field was more her own. This process of releasing a spirit that has taken up residence in a living person is often called spirit release therapy. Psychiatrist Shakuntala Modi, MD, comments, "I don't know whether these entities described by my patients are real or not. The only thing that is important to me is the result. And over the years, I have seen astounding results with spirit releasement therapy." Well, I like that they say, I don't know if it's real or not, but it works. That's cool. From a shamanic perspective, this level of intrusion is not uncommon. However, it's more common to find what Isa Gucciardi calls destructive energy packets within us. The imprint that the imprint that told me that I shouldn't exist, see chapters 1 and 4, was probably such a packet. I also encountered this kind of packet in my client, Eileen. Eileen had been born to an unmarried Chinese American mother who was deeply ashamed of her, both because she was illegitimate and because she was half white. At home, she wasn't Chinese enough, but at school, she was picked on by the other children for not being white enough. They nicknamed her Slanty, and as she grew older, amended the name to Slanty Slut. Rude. Now in her mid-30s, Eileen came to me to try to change her long-held pattern of involvement with lovers and friends who took advantage of her and treated her cruelly. Even though she was painfully aware of this pattern, she told me ruefully, I just can't seem to put myself first. I asked Eileen to tune in to the physical sensations that arose when she said aloud, it is right for me to put myself first. Immediately, she responded, it doesn't want me to. Who is this it? It's like a little black snake. It lives between my shoulder blades. Oh, there's some in my forehead too. And why doesn't it want you to put yourself first? It says I don't deserve to. It says wow, this is weird. Eileen opened her eyes and looked at me with surprise. It says I'm worse than rotten meat. It says I make people sick. Do you agree with it? No, of course not. Eileen's eyes filled with tears. But it just sounds like the things people have said to me all my life. Is there any reason why you would want to keep this black snake inside of you, insulting you like this and preventing you from putting yourself first? No, I want it gone, said Eileen firmly. Then hold on to your own understanding that it is right for you to put yourself first. And let's release it. I drummed while Eileen asked her guides for help in pushing the black snake out of her body and energy field. Even though she initially described it as a little, my perception as I drummed was that it was actually massive. It had extended bits of itself throughout her body, almost like a metastasized cancer. But as I continued drumming, and Eileen continued working with her guides, I felt the black snake evaporate, dissolved by the presence of love and compassion. Wow, said Eileen after about 10 minutes. I think it's gone. It doesn't feel bad anymore when I think about putting myself first. It feels like, of course. If you sense that you have energetic interference, it's probably best to look for a human practitioner who can assist you in clearing it. Initially, it can be difficult to maintain enough strength, clarity, and focus to do this level of work on your own. However, over time, this type of healing can become as easy as cleaning your house. In fact, that's essentially what you're doing, cleaning your inner house, restoring your own power and energetic integrity. Okay. This chapter is leaving me a bit out of breath, like I can't breathe. And I only know that it is something that I need to do. I need to do. And I suppose I need to work with a practitioner on it. So I'm gonna go back and say that prayer of the directions, or just imagine the prayer of the directions. Just to remember that I am fully supported to the north, to the south, east, and the west, above and below. I am in the center and I'm supported. I am held. I am loved. I am enough just where I am right now.